Well, that was a fantastic presentation, and that's the great thing about this event because we're moving on from one relevant topic to another, and this one I'm sure a lot of you are interested in. Now, if you've been looking for a crash course on how to market and sell in India as an SMB, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Achieving success in a complex and diverse market like India demands a deep understanding of strategic marketing and sales techniques. We are thrilled to have with us a speaker who knows these intricacies. Umang Maheshwari is the head of consulting and research at Schbang, one of India's largest independent brand and marketing agencies. And what's very interesting is that today he's sharing with us some insider secrets applicable for businesses such as yours, SMBs. Now, Umang's professional focus lies in enabling businesses to grow through key consumer insights, consultative marketing planning, brand positioning, and unlocking revenue and growth potential. So please give him a very warm welcome. Let's have Umang Maheshwari on the stage, please.
Thank you, Radhika. Kasakai, Mumbai. I operate on feedback. Kaise hain aap sab? How are you all? Okay, important questions first. How was the lunch? Good? Sure? What about you guys? How was the lunch? Good, good, good. Okay, Eugene, the lunch was good. We can clear the check. Okay, now coming back to my session. I think a very kind introduction has already been done by Radhika. My name is Umang. I am part of an agency called Schbang. We are one of India's largest independent agencies. And over the past 4 years, I've spent a lot of time working on different marketing and sales campaigns from multiple companies. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here today for a very, very, very special reason to talk about what Indian SMEs can do, what you all can do, what you and I can do to sort of grow faster, grow better, grow on the back of strong marketing, right? Today is a very special day. Do you know why? There are two special things today. It's International Yoga Day. So first of all, congratulations. And it's also apparently World Music Day. So these are two things which keep you sane. So I hope that you keep practicing yoga and keep listening to the good songs. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Under a bright lamp, there is a great darkness. Now, one might think that why I'm starting my talk with such a sad quote. But this is the reality of Indian SMEs today, right? One of our learned friends was sharing a stat in the morning that close to about 40% in the GDP is being contributed by SMEs of India. And still, about 75% of them never really grow to their true potential. Now, why that happens is something that we need to understand. The growth hurdles for Indian SMEs are not unknown, right? And the growth ratio is quite skewed, 99:1. 99% of the companies never grow to their true potential. 1% actually do. Now the question is, what creates this 1% difference? That's what we need to understand, right? I'm going to come closer to you because I think you guys are not responding, so I'll start calling your names. Don't worry, I've read everybody's name and introduction. Don't test me. The 1% is the goal. You know, these are some of the famous Indian brands who have really made it big in the world. Now, what it really takes to get to that 1% is something that I want to share with you today. Also, I do want to disclose that I've spent the past 1.5 years studying Indian SMEs as part of my, research thesis. So whatever I'll be sharing with you today is data-backed, it's practice-backed, right? And I'm extremely passionate marketer, which you will know from the rest of my session. So everybody is with me? Sure? You need some tea, coffee? Okay, great. So what is the role of marketing? What do you think is the role of marketing? To sell goods? To introduce our products to our customers? Introduce our services to our customers? Right? Is that the only role of marketing? Or marketing can be something more? See, a lot of us believe that marketing is just about advertising, communicating about your product, your service to your potential customers. But you know what great companies do? They make it their competitive strength, right? And some of the strongest brands in the world are built on strong marketing. Okay, let's do this thought experiment. I'll say a word and you tell me which company comes to your mind. In India, trust. See, so the strongest companies are built on the back of strong marketing, right? Though my finance colleague believe otherwise. So, what is it that these companies do to create marketing their strongest strength lever? So, what I'll be sharing with you today is a framework, and there are 7 lessons hidden in that framework. Now, just one word of caution. Not all 7 lessons may apply to everybody. All 7 lessons may apply to everybody also. But you need to be really clever, pick and choose what really applies to your business, right? And if you really want, if you have pen and a paper, follow the process with me. And I assure you, before you leave this room today, I will be able to help you make your company a little bit more competitive, even if it's 1%. That's my assurance to you. Yeah? Great. So the first thing that I want to share with you, or rather ask you, it's V. V stands for value. How many of you really know what matters to your customers? And what is it that your customer values? A lot of you are business owners. How many students are there? And how many business owners are there? All of you want to grow? All of you have customers? But the question is, do you know what really matters to your customer? And second, know where your business is adding value to their lives. Do you have answers to these 2 questions? Satisfying their needs. Okay. Let's see, these 3 questions, you really need to answer these 3 questions, and unfortunately, I can't answer it on your behalf, so you need to write these answers down. Value for money matters to your customers. Okay. You think so, or your customers say so? Customers say so, then it's great. Do I really know why my customers buy from me? Do I really know why they buy from my competitors? And what is the real value that I am providing to them? Now, you might think that, I provide great service. But do you really think your customer is with you for great service? Maybe they're there for great price, great taste, great quality, great personal relation, great personal brand, great financing options. Some of the smartest companies in the world don't really know why their customers are really with them. So, we all need to start with identifying this value. The next thing, that once you have identified what is valuable to your customer, you need to think through. Today's International Yoga Day. Meditate a little over your brand and company. And from this, find out that what is it that makes your value offering rare, that only you have, or very few people have. Right? List what is it that customer values, plus what is it that you can do better than anybody else. What is it that Asian Paints can do better than anybody else? Distribution and prediction. They're a heavy data-backed company. They've been collecting data for more than 30 years. They can predict which color, which paint, which shade, which will get sold where. So maybe what makes them rare is not their ability to manufacture high-quality paints, but on top of that, their ability to predict. Right? I'll come that side also. Don't worry, I'll cover everyone. Right? You guys are with me? Okay, so we started with value. Now we are on rare. Have you written this down? For those of you who are writing it down. Next step, and this is an extremely, extremely important step. Finding inimitability. What others cannot copy from you. Now, there's a quote by Bruce Lee, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Now, there's a great, it sounds great from a philosophical angle, but if you really look at it, great companies do that one thing better than anybody else. Anybody else. Right? Inimitability comes from your ability of replicating what you are better at and doing that one thing better than anybody else. Now, I'll give you one very interesting example. Have you guys heard of this company called Maruti Suzuki? What do? They manufacture cars. The company is Indian. The parent company is from some other country. It's a Japanese company, right? Let's say Suzuki Global Corporation earns 100 rupees. What do you think is the contribution of Indian arm? What do you think is the contribution of Indian arm? If Suzuki Global earns 100 rupees, roughly how much Indian arm contributes? 10? How many people think 10, 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40? Okay, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. Okay, we see few hands. I see few stock traders also. 60 to 70. What do others think? 100? Or you guys are sleeping? I can wake you up. I have all the time. I've spoken to the Borzo team and I've told them, unless I'm done, unless I get my answers, I'm not leaving the stage. 60 to 70. Okay, a few more hands raised. You know, the answer is roughly about 60, 65%. Now think about it. How did the Indian arm of a global, supposedly global automotive manufacturing firm became 60 to 65% of their revenue? They identified one thing that they are really good at in India, to manufacture at scale. They're not competing to be the best car manufacturer in the world. They're competing to become the largest car manufacturer in the world. And that's one thing they do better than anybody else. Anybody else. Their cash reserves are close to about 80,000 crores. They have assets under management worth thousands of crores, right? So sometimes what you're really good at may not come from product, may come from something else, right? In the morning we heard our dear friend Jahan from Bombay Hemp Company. You guys were there? Liked his talk? What is it that Bombay Hemp Company is really good at and has done something that you cannot easily copy? Don't tell me products. Products can be copied. What is it that cannot be copied from Bombay Hemp Company? Yes, sir. Huh? Regulatory approvals and the ecosystem that they have created, right? So the essence and strength of the company is not in product anymore. It's in the people who are running it and their regulatory structure, compliances, and ecosystem that they have managed to create over 10 years. Now that's something you can't copy, right? Because it takes time, it takes different strengths to copy it. So we started with value. Second one was rare. Third one was inimitability. What is it that you can do better than everybody else? And it may not have anything to do with your core product. Maybe the inimitable part is you yourself, your vision, your connects as a founder, right? Your ability to drive the business, your relations, your B2B negotiations, your B2C negotiations, your technical capability, right? And then the last one, if you have managed to do V, R, and I, what comes next is O, which is organized. Are you organized to protect your V, R, and I? What do I mean by organized? You know, there are lots of definitions on what really organized means. You know, the best organized companies are called organizations. Why? Because they know how to protect their value, what is rare about them, what is inimitable. Now, how to do that? And you know, for that, you know, we have ideated this framework, which is essentially called KYC Cube. You need to know your category really well. When I say really well, you need to know what is the size of the category, how many customers are there, how many players are there, where do you sit, what is your core strength, your weakness, what is your competitor's weakness. And if your strength can be built on your competitor's weakness, you're going to have a strong competitive force. Second is know your consumer. Most of us, and I've also done this mistake, and I plead guilty today, that we put ourselves in the shoes of customers, right? You should really try and get customer feedback for your companies. You know, this is one thing that we have seen, it's a common practice in the West, and the Americans did it very well, that collecting consumer feedback became part of the culture. You know, there's a saying, I don't know if it's true or not, but Jeff Bezos used to spend a lot of time, even after Amazon went public, in the call center listening to the customer feedback. I once wrote to him and I heard back. Right? So are you really listening to your customer? Because the companies who don't listen to their customers and what the customer wants get wiped out of the market. Where's BlackBerry today? Where's Nokia? Where's Micromax? Right? Think about it. And third, know your competence, what you are good at, you know, what we derive from we, are, and I. Because if you really identify your competence and just play on it and do it better than anybody else, you will really create a mark for yourself in the market. And the sad part is that Indian SMEs have been coached for years that, okay, I know this is your challenge, let's solve it. Everybody is talking about SMEs challenge. Nobody is really talking about how SMEs can build competence. Right? Out of the 70 million, 60 million, whatever that number may be, odd MSMEs in India, 95% are still micro. Then you have roughly 3.5% small, and then 1.5% medium. Why is that number so skewed? Right? Because we are not building competence. And you know what will happen if we stay quiet for the next 30 seconds? 30 seconds done, roughly. One SME has closed in India. One SME has closed in India. Why? Because you have not focused on competence. And somebody out there has given up on their dream to build a company which could have been a medium-sized company or a large format company. Right? So the focus on competence is extremely important, right? So let's relook. We started from value, we went to rare, then inimitable and organized. And you know what? Whatever is valuable, rare, inimitable can come out of any of these things, or probably more than this. Don't worry, I'll share my slides with you, so you don't need to click pictures. Just focus and ask me good questions and I'll be happy. Market knowledge, IP, pricing, production, license, leadership, agreements, industry growth, SOPs. I have seen great companies being built on just SOPs and nothing else. So maybe your product is a simple product that is being sold by 10,000 more people, but you have better SOPs than anybody else. You have lesser employee attrition than anybody else, right? And you know why this works, and this is a value creation framework put together by Paul and Kosh. I don't know how visible it is, but I'm going to share the slides with you all. And it basically talks about value creation and value capturing. Now these two are beautiful words. Indian SMEs generate a lot of value, both internal and external. They don't capture their value. Start capturing the value that you are creating in your businesses. But first you need to identify what is the value that you are creating, right? And if you capture the value, if your value creation is high, your value capturing is high, you will be in heaven. I mean, for all good reasons, right? I mean, this was a WhatsApp forward. I just thought that I'd include it. This is a picture from a roughly 40, 50-year-old movie called Muqaddar Ka Sikandar. I don't know how many of you have watched it, but there are 4 legendary brands in this picture. You know, there's a Premier Padmini, the car that you see, there's a Chetak scooter, and there's an old Rajdoot motorcycle. Can you identify the 4th brand? Mr. Bachchan himself. And you know what? His brand has outlived all 3 of them, because he has been constantly, in a way, focusing on what his Vryo is, right? And reinventing wherever the need was. And now finally, you may ask me that, Umang, we'll do all these things, what is the guarantee that we'll get to that 1%, you know? And this I've been able to conclude after speaking to at least 700-800 SME founders who I really take inspiration from. You know, what you see there, kathya, tathya and satya. What you say, what is the fact and what is the truth. आप क्या सोचते हैं, करते हैं, उसमें जितना फर्क होगा, the difficulty or journey to get to that 1% is going to become. Right? Today you have taken notes, you will feel very happy, you will go home and life will happen and you will forget that we ever had this conversation. Most of us will. But those 1% of you who will decide to implement it will get to that 1%, and maybe, Mike, for next year we'll have them as a sponsor for our Borzo Connect 2025. Right? So the 7 lessons: know what matters to your customers, know where you're adding value, know your USPs, your innate strengths, your inimitability factor, becoming organized and getting to that 1%. If you have decided to do something that, okay, I'm going to focus on building this competence, then keep doing it, don't give up. Strategy put on paper is of no worth. You create strategy on day one and you need to implement it every single day. And of course, if you're not marketing right, you're not competing right. So I think we can end with this. Under a bright lamp, there is a great darkness, but it's time to move the lamp, guys. It's time to move away from it. Strategy is how you compete, and marketing can be your strategy too. Now, in all of this, if you really focus on the KYC framework, know your category, know your consumer, and know your competence, you will be creating amazing, amazing strategies. Thank you so much for listening. Looking forward to meet you. You can scan this QR code and we'll send you the PDF. Don't worry about the notes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. That certainly has been one of the most interactive and engaging presentations of
Thanks to them,
all
not
the
me.
day.
Thanks to them.
Fantastic audience, fantastic speaker, and
Thank
that's
you.
what Borzo Connect is all about, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to please invite on stage Alina and Eugene from the Borzo team to present Umang with a token of our appreciation, a memento, an acknowledgement of his time and the expertise
Thank
that he's been able to share with us in such a short span of time.